I stand here this morning in the snow-covered path in the forest with the scrub oaks bald as can be. Sun shining on my back. I'm thinking about the pain. But before I think about the pain, I'm thinking about who I was born. Who I was born was a bright, shiny light. I used to hear stories from my mom that when we were at my grandparents' on Leidig Avenue in the Bronx, and we'd go into the bakery, everybody wanted to hold me. They'd bring me behind the counter, and they just loved being around me. And as my mom would stroll down the avenue, she said people would come from across the street and just stop to see me, to just admire me or adore me. That's not the way I feel today. I don't know why, but somehow inside of me, I disconnected from that. And I disconnected at a very young age at the hands of my father, who sexually abused me. And I disappeared. And I became a shell of myself. And I became this warrior and this titan with all of my Aries energy and fire. And I lived that way for a really long time, not even really knowing I had a feminine inside to be feminine about. And as I look back and I connect in with the energy and the essence of who I was born, and I feel where I am right at this moment, I realize there's a saying in the spiritual communities, and there's this awareness that, well, you're a spirit, and you called all of this in, so that's why it happened. And I say, yeah, there's definitely possibility to that, but I don't think that a 1.5-year-old child chooses for their parent to ravage them, to break their sense of connection with safety, with source. I actually think when I look around today and I see how much, even in the spiritual communities, a lot of the sayings that we have really actually deplete our power. They dull down our sense of proper behavior and improper behavior. They actually siphon our power. So as I look at this right now and allow myself to tap into that energy and that shining bright light that I was as a kid, and through my Qigong practice, many years later, I was able to reclaim that. And I don't know, since COVID, my heart, it's done a number on my heart. No joke. But as I stand here now with the reclamation that this is my life, this is my choice, I recognize my father never had a right to violate me, and I will never make that okay. I'm not a victim, and it happened, and I don't feel like carrying the anger anymore about it. But it is my role and it is my responsibility to reclaim my light, to open my heart back up. But I want us to be very clear and very careful. It is never okay, ever. I don't care what the circumstances are. It is never okay for an adult to abuse a child or take their innocence or their purity from them. They don't have a right to do that. That is an absolute violation. And whether you called this in before you came here or not, which I actually don't know if I truly believe. I really don't. The bottom line is that when you look at nature, nature has laws and rules in place. So there is very little abuse. It's the exception, not the rule. Where in our human world, it's kind of become the rule, the abuse. And I think somehow that those in power at the moment, and who have been in power over many, 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 many centuries, they know and they understand this. But they've allowed this saying, oh, you called it in. I don't believe I called it in. I actually think my father and I had an agreement before we got here, and he fucked up. And he made a very different choice than what was supposed to happen. And it led me on a journey, like many of us, I'm not unique in this, that I'm not 100% sure we needed to go through. Many people could say, absolutely, this is your cross to bear, this is why you went through this, so you would learn the opposite. And I'm not saying that's not possible. It absolutely is. I'm just saying it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And I have seen many times in this life when our spiritual awareness, which sounds so, lofty and huge, doesn't actually put an end to the abuse taking place and the trauma taking place. That happens when you stand fully embodied in your body and look the danger, look the trauma, look the abuse and the abuser right in the eye. And you drop your energy down through your legs and down through your center and down through your feet. And without flinching and looking directly into their eyes, you proclaim, never fucking again. Because whether it's a child that you're abusing, an animal, nature, your spouse, yourself, your community, your planet, the reason that the Creator gave the animals the energy of fierce is to ensure respectful behavior and an honoring of the Creator's rules and laws, not man's. And again, the animal kingdom, there's absolutely exceptions to peace and harmony. But in the human world, it's become far too prevalent that this is taking place far too often. And I am putting my foot down fiercely and saying, enough. You want to be a coward and abuse a child? You want to be a coward and kill an innocent life because of your own self-hatred? Enough. You want to prize money over life? You want to keep abusing of power because you believe you have a false sense of power that you can accumulate tons of money, and yet you were to use that to help bring peace and harmony for all, but you got distorted in your capitalism. Enough. None of us, no human is better than even the smallest grain of sand. In God's eyes, we are all equal. And until we get out of this trauma-induced behavior, until we learn to heal it and release it, and until we learn to put our foot down so it will never happen again, we are still perpetuating that lie, well, you must have chosen it before you were here, whether chosen or not. And I honestly don't know that I 100% believe that it was chosen before you came here. And even if it was, it is not acceptable to ever cross that line with abusing someone else. And maybe through my own abuse, or the way things went possibly haywire, maybe that has turned me into who I am today and the stance I take on it. So I tell all of you bullies out there who perceive yourself as so powerful, except have your own highly emotional, wounded inner selves. You want to fight with somebody? Knock on my door. Because you know what? You will never fucking get away with the shit that you have gotten away with. But you hide behind things. So I'm saying, come on out. Show yourself in full transparency. If you're that strong, if you're that powerful, bring it on. And not an entire army. Like, bring it on, 1-to-1. I'll go toe-to-toe with you. We'll take a look at your wounds, and we'll take a look at what you need healed and how you need to get back into right relationship with the Creator and the universal laws. Because this planet was created as heaven on Mother Earth. And if you are doing anything to abuse that in any way, you've crossed the line. And trust me, from what I understand from the animal kingdom, that line is clear and it's non-negotiable. You just haven't had enough women that have stood up and enough men that have stood up in their fierceness and said, enough. And for all of you out there that are leaders or teachers, for all you women out there, for all you men out there, it is high time to also stop with the spiritual bullshit and fully embody your love. But never forget you're fierce to put an end to bad behavior. There is no more pivoting. There is no more tolerance for this shit. Because the more we tolerate it, the more it goes on. We have been given everything by a loving Creator. That includes Father and Mother energy. And we have been behaving not in our highest capacities. So, like the meme says, there's a yin-yang meme that I love, and it says, do no harm and take no shit. You be as loving as you can possibly be, and you also drop the hammer with your fierce energy when it comes to negativity or abuse, and you say, enough. Not here, not on my watch, no more. That is how we remember. That is how we pay homage to the fact that we live in heaven on Mother Earth. No more unconsciousness, you guys. We need to be fully aware of who we are. We need to fully remember why we are here. And we need to fully remember how we need to behave. And that's not a rigid structure, but it's a code of ethics and it's a code of conduct that allows everyone to actually be free and also be totally respectful of each other, of our planet, of nature, of the animals, and of our creative source. time to wake up, remember, and reweave and reconnect with the energy of heaven on Mother Earth. That is the energy that should be dictating our behaviors. That is where we should be choosing free choice and free will from. Because remembering that you actually already live in heaven on Mother Earth, you will naturally align your own behaviors, way of being, your thoughts, your feelings to that energy. And just like trauma in childhood, that abuse disconnected us from the remembrance that we are already home, living in heaven on Mother Earth. And now it's time to light that shit up. Have a beautiful day. And remember who you are, and remember where you already live, and allow that to inform all of your choices. Keep it simple, keep it real, and keep it love.